What's up, everybody? I am back, and we are going to continue reading X-Men Age of Apocalypse. Almost out with stuff in my throat. It's like Aquaman. Alright, we're going to continue reading X-Men Age of Apocalypse. Let me start this one from the beginning. I was reading ahead a little bit, waiting to get this started. So, we're going to pick back up on Universe X. This is where a lot of the humans are. Tony Stark, there's the Hulk on the cover. We've seen them fighting some of the human villains like Osborn and all of them. This is Gwen Stacy right here. I think the dude with the beard, I forget how he's tied to Thor. Thor's in his too. I think it's Donald Blake. One of these guys, I think it's Hawkeye. Alright, anyways, here we go. Let me have a sip. And then let's get into this. Dim lights filter through the gray streets of London once again, following decades of darkness and despair, known to survivors and scavengers alike as the Age of Apocalypse. Old wounds have been newly bandaged, treating the symptoms of disease and disorder, if not the cause. I can't say goodbye. Rafi, please. I still have so many doubts about all this, Martha. About that sour taste of surrender, especially the sudden trust in mutants after a lifetime of defiance. For nothing but the slightest of goodwill offerings. Where do we go from here? It's a big question, Rafi. But we both know it's not about us or our future anymore. It's just about survival and this little one's future. Refuge and rags are available to more now than ever before. And fresh water has restored a veneer of vitality, at least to those still hungry. All since the coming of Mikhail, the fourth and forgotten horseman of Apocalypse, merely a week ago tonight. This is the only sane choice left to humans in our new world order. And how can so many possibly be so wrong? Just pray the boy knows somehow, maybe even understands someday, we did it all for him in this. Or for him and his. He will, Martha, I swear it, even if I never really believe it. The post-nuclear family in the shadow of Apocalypse. Fathers and mothers, parents and children, friends and lovers from coast to coast linger over final farewells before joining the strongest and soundest of their people. Ferried toward the massive mothership of the mutant Mikhail. Thousands of chosen volunteers heralded as pioneers of Mikhail's personal augmentation program. One last chance for Homo sapiens to make a place for themselves among Homo superior, for man to walk with mutants. And what was the name of this book again? Dying Breath. Stan Lee presents Age of Apocalypse. Universe X. Dying Breath. A bittersweet promise of power seasons the stale and stagnant air this eve. Silent acknowledgement of despair, humanity's first step into the breach. A trail so recently blazed by the bravest and brightest among them. Pilots Clint Barton, so there's Hawkeye, Ben Grimm, that's Thing, and Susie Storm, that's the Invisible Woman. Dr. Donald Blake, like I said, he's tied to Thor. He used to be like his alter ego, like his connection to this, with his companion Gwen Stacy and Eurasian Security Director Victor Von Doom. Explorers and pilgrims from every corner of the globe, actually, all but dead in the heart of hell, painfully conscious of every move they can make, every scream they can't scream, every nightmare they'll never escape again, awaiting their turn at the table. An accident of arrogance all but killed this brash young genius long years ago, betrayed by his body then, mended by his mind and mechanics ever since. Technocrat Anthony Stark now presents a prime potential for augmentation implants. Or organ harvesting. Manuel de la Rocha, and affectionately known as Empath. He was one of the Hellions. Mutant maestro of passions in his prime victims, a mutant maestro of passions in his prime, victims of his own powers, and people now, barely kept alive by the machinery for the machinery, in the service of much grander dreams and schemes than his own. Just doesn't pay to be so sensitive in this day and age, boy. M. Murdoch. This is Daredevil. Quisling, captor, and controller of his living, seething battery of rolling emotions, in a cold, lonely place without color. Blind to the world at large, since a selfless sacrifice in his youth, his final sacrifice to be precise, the all-too-human Murdoch was the very first survivor of the upscale programs. Take it from me in the doc. Gifted with his so-called second sight by the grace of Mikhail, granted a vision limited in scope, reduced to the barest of black and whites, with little or no room for grays. Do not let him die, Keeper, as long as he still fans the flames of the fires down below. And then it's Mikhail, unity, Mikhail. But within the shattered husk of a nearby Big Ben itself, humanity first, humanity only. The last remaining members of the High Human Council assemble. The rift between factions is widening. Folks were heading for blood in the streets by daybreak. The rift between factions is widening, folks. The rift between factions is widening, folks. We're heading for blood in the streets by daybreak. Unless we put a stop to this insanity now. Is this Ross? No, it's Bolivar Trask and Moira. That might be Rice, though. The voice of the people is loud and clear, my love, but all too fickle. The ranks of protesters outside diminished with each passing hour as more and more be turning to Bolivar and Moira Trask, two united as one in a war without hope. Traitors. Yep, it was. Thunderbolt Ross, he'll be your Red Hulk. 5-star General, he's in Red Hulk wouldn't be written in comics for like 10 years, 15, like 10 years later. Thunderbolt Ross, 5-star General of an American army that no longer exists. Cowards looking for an excuse to abandon their own, if you ask me. And you did. A mere formality, Counselor. The decision has long been out of your hands. Fourth Prelate Mikhail Rasputin himself, the final horseman of apocalypse, a mutant of far greater power than most, enjoying the power to command power, the singular ability to enslave energy with a thought and forces to his will. Mikhail sees all of Europe as his personal birthright, a succession as inevitable as winter follows summer, and so savors each and every second of the shifting seasons. But his patience with the council, as with all flat-scans really, lasts only as long as they amuse him. Mikhail could crush them all with a thought, but the game is all. Is this the humanity you would champion? This scattered flock without and within, divided among yourselves? At least we mutants share a history of collaboration, a united goal, a commitment to a common cause. The upscale programs claim the lives of 999 out of 1,000 human subjects in the initial auto probes for graft compatibility alone. Only one of 100 of the survivors lives through the actual splicing. But the vast majority of those who reject the implants within the first few hours, and the resistance leaders knew all this when they came, but the vast majority of those reject the implants within the first few hours, and the resistance leaders knew all this when they came aboard. So the primitive transistors in Stark's mechanized heart were rerouted and rewired with delicate care and precision in advance, to serve as a crude but effective feedback conduit for the ship's own energies at the moment of contact. Stark's causing all this feedback was temporarily short-circuiting all linked power supplies at the cost of cardiac arrest. So Tony Stark is dead of a heart attack. We're free. Head for the lights up top and drag anyone who can't walk. Dr. Blake, are you going to be... I'm fine, man. Fine. Just get me down to Stark fast. We're too late. He's not breathing. Away from him, Gwyn. Now. A secreted stash of pure adrenaline in a surgeon's sure hands plunges towards a hero's wounded heart. And a miracle is truly made. Donald? It worked, Tony. The whole damned plan worked. Operation Trojan Horse has just begun to run. That's what he freaking did in freaking the Avengers movie. So you guys seen it first. He did it here first, guys. In the Age of Apocalypse. Internal systems are already tracking the tracers hidden in your confiscated guns, Grim, pointing straight to the local ammo dump. What the hell? They're good at all this, old friend. Too good, I suspect. Get used to it, Doctor. It got us this far. Discarded technoware from outmoded skyware to old-fashioned armor and armory. Ripe for the picking and choosing. So now they're all getting armored up and gunned up. I should be going with you to warn the council about what's going on in the upscale program, about the death rate, about the prisons found in place of the power we were promised. Not possible, Gwendolyn. Tony needs you to shepherd him to the auxiliary bridge as planned. We never had any other choice, really. You're a ready fighter to the core of your soul. I'm a simple healer at heart. Our destinies demand different paths in these end times. But Von Doom can escort Stark while I... The councils would hardly recognize you in my steed, woman. And the doctor will be perfectly safe under my protection. Can't say I trust the little dictator any more than you, Stacy. But she's out of options, Ben. We're all we've got, as long as we last. Now take us topside, partner. We've got a fleet to free. The man called Bullseye, his name lost to his aim, leads by default. Only the first forward from the cell blocks. No more than a man, in fact, sporting no secret strengths, no mutant abilities, just talent, training, and a target. I love Bullseye. Nothing between us and the airstrip, boys and girls. They're all running. Once we take the tower, humans from every walk of life follow. Husbands, fathers, sisters, daughters, and of humanity, all armed with what little they've lifted from fallen foes, fighting for their own freedom. But their outnumbered enemy maintains the high ground, cutting down 30 for every two from their position of power until suckers never knew what hit them, Suze. One fell swoop. And the transport arcs are ours. Just bring us in, Ben, so you're going to get half the Fantastic Four. Humanity has landed. While deep beneath the lower decks aboard Auto Bridge B2, the handful of humans on duty, turncoats to their own, react to the spreading alarms with confusion and concern. Seconds too late. We're in. Cruise down. But you still have to buy me enough time to... Stacy? Gwen? Sorry, little man. Time's up. Meanwhile, there's the Hulk all controlled out. There's something hooked to his brain. Meanwhile, with all conveyed counselors, I must insist on your final response. And you and yours agree to work under me and mine. Wouldst Europe bow gracefully to its fate, the fate of the fourth horseman? Or be broken by not much of a choice, Rasputin, and no real reason to choose anymore? Blake? Dr. Donald Blake, but just look at your mothership, McHale. The people have spoken. In that case, ladies and gentlemen, the prelate's personal strife force, one of many policing the city in his name by now, instantly responds to his silent signal. The very last and best of his upscale alumni. Game's over. Kill them. Including the world-weary wife and mother known as Martha. The High Human Council. We can't just, I do not ask, pawn. Cyber organics are mine to manipulate as I wish. No, with a whim. God help me. A muffled explosion from heavens above. Was that Moira they capped? Yeah. Good. Fuck Moira. Oh, before a muffled explosion from heavens above, and is all she hears of an answered prayer, and suffering ceases. Ugh. Our thanks, Prelate. Von Doom? This particular piece, your private flagship, I assume, now belongs to the Revolution. As above, so below, where the man called Rafe, his only child safely secure in his arms, simply seeks shelter from the gathering storm. Even as it breaks wide open, within the floating fortress of the fourth horseman, what little is left of the whimpering Manuel de la Rocha lives every loss and suffers every sorrow in the streets. Stop tearing yourself apart already, boy. While the lone Morlock merely watches his withering charge and worries with good cause and rare pause about himself, his station here, and his own place in the new world of Master Mikhail just makes more work for the rest of us. But hand brushes hand by chance or choice. What? Looks like he's unplugging him, or he's doing something. And the embers of empath spark to the heat instinctively, desperately, connecting with his first corporal contact in months of physical isolation. So man, oh, he touched him, I see, by accident, he slipped off and so man meets mutant, mind to mind. When Murdoch finally fathoms and feels and touches all too intimately just a splinter of Manuel's true blinding pain, barely a sliver of the recent misery caused by Mikhail, a single shard of the agony attributes to attributably a single shard of the agony attributable to Apocalypse worldwide, and capture joins captive in a world and planets plaintive plea for mercy. No! But only one has the power to act on it. And with this passing of empath with the passing of empath tormented twister of sentiment and sensations, M. Murdoch is finally a man without fear. Forgive me. The visor grafted to his face, blinding him to his barbarous benefactor, is far too stinging to endure. God forgive me. But softened tints and tones slowly burst into harsher hues, sharper shades, punchline to one last joke in the telling. Matthew Murdoch learns that his second senses were his own all along, bizarre byproduct of the self-shame chemical accident that blinded him in all likelihood, and he knows he'll never escape the echoing laughter of Mikhail. He never got powers to get that. Yeah, he got it his own way, and in death at least, the populace of London stands together once again, no longer under the unnatural influence of empath. Panicked humans freeze in shock as Mikhail's remote control strife forces plow through the throngs, slaughtering any and all in their path. Even as the voice of violence speaks in his ear, the falling Rafe hears nothing but the call of his child, sounding so lost and alone, the cry of an orphan. Ah! But the bawling, cut the bawling already, kiddo. Uncle Ben's got you. Cavaliers come to town. His dad's dead. He's like, and we brung rides for everyone, whoever wants them. Offered the slimmest of chances, the most slender of threads. Men, women, and children born to a hell on earth reach for the skies. But while the human refugees swarm the hovering transport arcs by the thousands, Another frantically struggles to ensure their safety. Afraid I can't allow that, Stark. Step away from that console before. Surprise, gruesome. I was faking it. Guess again, girlie. You're as good as dead already. Just don't know enough to lie down for the count. Never did, renegade. Never will. So your allies related our unfortunate clash in the ruins on field command. Told you I'm not a true mutant, but it won't help you survive a moment longer. Doesn't have to, ugly. She delayed you until I could breach the ship's security shields and, good lord, we're too late. The seawall's been launched. At the heart of the storm, I heard. Okay. Okay. I got her. Come here, baby girl. Come here, baby girl. We're almost done. And at the heart of the storm, Mikhail masterminds the massacre of all his civets, silently pulling the strings of his powerful puppets across the city, defended by the very nearest and dearest of these strife forces. Back to now, eye to eye again for the first time in a long time. The Human High Council determines to go down fighting now against their enemy and for themselves, with the sole exception of Donald Blake, Dr. Donald Blake. Forget these cursed circuits and wires, woman. Breathe. This is senseless, insane. We're all human beings here, damn it. Human beings. Breathe. Fighting against nothing but death, only for life. Victor Von Doom feels no pity for the last of the forces to fall to his guns. Objects and obstacles in his line of fire, focusing on the end in his sights instead. An end justifying any means. Killing your own comes easily enough, tin soldier. Dare you challenge me directly? The horseman almost appears to welcome Von Doom's deadly advance, exposing too tempting a target to resist, until, no! Use the flagship to get the counselors out of here, Victor. Rasputin's mine. Dream on, Jean joke. In my dreams, devil. I soar through a far finer world than this. I dine and dance amongst graceful goddesses on the other side of the universe, and share home and hearth with heroes. In reality here, now I am just another man. But in a role I was never meant to play, look what you've made us all, Mikhail. No. The frailest of men against the mightiest of mutants, and the outcome was never truly in doubt. Despite his denials, Blake was always a fighter, given something to fight for, and Mikhail's a mere demon of desires. But their last sight, the night, is the first light of doom in the distance. But their last sight that night is the first light of doom in the distance. Sea walls just cracked the event horizon, and reinforcements are calling out of the woodwork. Down here, Susie, we're losing more than we gain every second we wait. Move it already, Ben. The evacuation's got to be now or never. Seawall. Enough hardware to level the continent in a single sweep. We'd heard reports, but that son of a... Seems the betrayer is betrayed. And we need the man now, not the monster. Dr. Banner. The scientist who ran the field center? How could you know? Our friends are hardly fools, Doctor, and your common injuries were apparently obvious at first. But if any of us plan to see the dawn of day, old wounds have to start healing fast. This is working, Stark. All wrong. This is wrong, Stark. All wrong. Banner's a cold-blooded killer. He's also our best chance to seize whole control of the helm in time, Gwen, while I link all the transport arcs into a unified field fleet under Susie's command. Done. Done. Then undo it, Americans, at once. Von Doom and the surviving counselors. Michaela's dead. We must use the vessel to attack without delay while we still have the advantage of surprise. Turn right around. Risk that it's designed to withstand the worst, and shove it straight down Apocalypse's throat. No, our first responsibility is still the mass relocation of the innocents in the cargo craft. None of us ever set out to be Avengers. Doom, I told you not to come back. Without Blake. We did it, Ben. The Armada's locked into the mothership's wake. We're gonna make it. We're all gonna make it. Go. And the commandeered convoy races to reach orbital escape velocity, shooting for the very stars themselves if necessary to save something of humanity, aiming for the greatest escape of all. To where? Won't know until we get there. Seawalls overtaking our flanks already. Face the future, friends. Full speed ahead. Before this common company of citizens and soldiers alike, mankind's best and last hope, mystery whispers, and behind these chosen few, reality passes. And then we go, a little thing on each one of them. And we've got just 3 more books, guys, and we are done. So we see now the humans dealt with Mikhail and what became of them. Thank you guys for listening. Thank you guys for letting me read to you guys. I appreciate it. You guys all have a good night, and I'll be on something soon. Peace.